Alrighty, so let's go ahead and move in here. So we have the starter SQL files that we'll use. Click on the resources link on this video and you'll download the attached file. So the resources link for this video. And then once you have these files downloaded, then you can actually access them on your file system. So my web browser puts them in my downloads folder. I can move in here and I can go ahead and unzip this file. And so inside of this file here, we should have two scripts, the O1 and the O2. Now let me go ahead and open up another window here so I can just copy, paste, or drag and drop. I'll move into my dev Spring Boot folder here that we've been using so far, and I'll create a new folder. And this new folder, I call it O3 Spring Boot HibernateJPA CRUD. And what I'll do is I'll grab this OO folder and I'll drag and drop it into this O3 folder. So I should have this given directory structure here. Alrighty, this looks pretty good. I like it. Now let's go ahead and start up MySQL Workbench. And again, you should have installed this in the previous video. And remember, this is the GUI for accessing the MySQL database. I'll go ahead and select my root connection here, and I'll log in using the root password that was specified during the installation process. And now that I'm logged in here, this is the basic layout here for the MySQL Workbench. And I'll go ahead and open up the SQL script. I'll move into this folder here, Dev Spring Boot, then the O3 folder, and then the OO folder. And I'll choose the first one here, O1 create user.sql. Okay, great. So in a nutshell, this creates a new user, the user ID of Spring Student and the password of Spring Student. And I can hit the little gold lightning bolt at the top and it'll execute this statement. And basically it went through and created the actual user. Now, if I click on the administration tab over on the left-hand side and select users and privileges, then we should see this new account that was just created, Spring Student. Okay, that looks really good. And now a bit more about this SQL here is that we said create user, user ID of Spring Student, identified by Spring Student. That's the password. All right, so now let's go ahead and move out or close this connection, and then let's go ahead and create a new connection for this Spring Student. So I'll hit on the plus here for connection. I'll give the connection name, I'll just call it Spring Student. And the username, Spring Student. Let's go ahead and click on Test Connection. And then we'll enter the password of Spring Student. Hopefully everything is successful here. Hit OK. And now we go ahead and hit OK one more time. And now we have this new connection, Spring Student. And that's the one that we'll use in this course. So let's go ahead and use this connection to go ahead and connect to MySQL. And so we're in now. Let me click on the tab for schemas. At the moment, we only have one schema for sys. That's the system schema that's used internally by MySQL. Let's go ahead and open up our SQL script. And I'll open up the O2 student tracker.sql. And behind the scenes, this basically creates the database schema for us called student tracker. And then it'll actually create a table for us called student. That's going to have 4 columns here: ID, first name, last name, and email. Let's go ahead and hit the gold lightning bolt here to execute it. And that looks okay. Over on the left-hand side, let's hit the little arrows here to refresh or reload the schemas. And we should see this new schema. So this is great. So we have student tracker, that's our database schema name. And then we have our table here, student. And then we can take a look at the columns here for this table. We have these 4 columns, ID, first name, last name, and email. And we can also do a quick query on this table. And nothing's there right now, right? Because we only created the table. We didn't actually insert any data yet. But don't worry, we'll actually write some Java code for inserting data into this database. But at least we have the basics set up. So this looks really good so far. Good job.